Hey there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video on the Be a Hero Gaming channel, where we talk about all things gaming and how you can be a hero in your real lives as well as in your games. Today, I want to talk a little bit about risk. Now, when I first made this YouTube channel, I told my wife that I wasn't sure I wanted to show my face right away because I was worried that if things went bad or people didn't like the content, I could just pull the plug and no one would ever know I had a YouTube channel. Well, that all changes today because I'm taking a little bit of a risk in this video today. And the reason is because I don't have a lot of props to use to show you. And so it would just be a really awkward video if I was only using my hands. And so I figured it's time to take a risk. There's lots of times in your life when taking a risk will pay off and will mean huge dividends for you down the road, either financially or socially, or just for your overall well-being, doing something risky that you've never done before. Now, doing something risky could also go the other way. It could end up being something bad that you wish you would not have done, and you wish you could go back and change your mind on that. But that's the nature of risk. When you take a risk, you have this opportunity at something big at the risk that it could not be big, okay? Now, how does that apply to this video? Is because of this game. And this game is a big risk for multiple reasons. And let me talk about that. The reason why I made this video is because since the Kickstarter has come back on, I've noticed that it's hovering right around the 880 mark, and it can't seem to get, I think it got close to 90 and then came back down. And I keep watching this total kind of going up and down and up and down as I see people jumping in and then changing their minds and pulling out, and then jumping in and then changing their minds and pulling out. There's a lot of that kind of stuff happening as we watch this Kickstarter going up and down. If you've been following this, I'm sure you've seen the same thing. Now, how is this a risk? Well, first of all, it's a risk to the company to make this game because they have invested a tremendous amount of money to make this game, and nobody's bought it yet. And so they've dumped a ton of money into this game, hoping that people will enjoy the game, that they'll play the game, that it will become mainstream, and that the game will become collectible, is what the company is hoping. Now, that could happen, and the company would be over the moon if this game became collectible and became big. But they're not the only ones taking the risk. The other people taking the risk is you and I, who are thinking, should I back this game? Should I spend my money on this game? Is this game going to be fun? Am I going to enjoy the game? Is the game going to become collectible? And so you and I are also taking a tremendous risk by backing the game. But like I said before, there's opportunity with risk, and there's a chance that there could be no opportunity there. But I want to address a couple of the things that are swirling around this game. I know there's a lot of controversy about this game, especially since some of their offerings had to be removed from the Kickstarter and they had to redo it again. And I understand there's probably a bunch of people that are spooked by that and say, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with this game. But I did want to talk about a couple of things. Why is it that this game keeps going up and down like that? Why is that? But before I answer that question, I want to back up and ask this question. Why is it that so many collectible card games fail? I started playing Magic the Gathering in the 90s in high school and thoroughly enjoyed the game and got so into it that I basically spent all my money on collectible card games and Taco Bell when I was in high school. What a great investment. But I still have some of those cards today. Don't have any of the Taco Bell, but still have some of those cards today. I tried a couple of other collectible card games at the time. For some of you old timers, you maybe remember Wyvern, which was a dragon game that came out that was short-lived and had a bunch of hype and then kind of went away. There was the Star Wars CCG, which was the customizable card game for Star Wars. That was really cool because it featured a lot of characters that we knew and loved from Star Wars, but that game didn't really last long either. There was a couple of others, and since then, there's just been a ton of games that have come out and have not succeeded. Why is that? And in my opinion, the reason why that's happening is because they're trying to take a game at a few different mechanics and a new theme and think that it's going to catch on. And it doesn't, because it's too similar to the other games. And some of you might argue with me that, wait, what about this game and what about that game? And you might be right. There might be games that I don't know about that are drastically different from the mainstream collectible card games. But most of the games kind of end up being like, we're fighting each other and I'm going to defeat you, and you have either some life or some energy or some hit points. Or the Star Wars customizable card game, your deck was kind of your force, and as you spent that and ran out, you would lose and stuff. And but kind of the same spin, a different spin on the same game. Now, why is it that with this game, it keeps going up and down? People aren't sure if they want to jump in or they don't. Why is it that there's so much controversy surrounding this game? And again, this is my opinion here. I feel like it's because this game is drastically different. Drastically different in the game mechanics and how you play. There are some things that are similar to other card games. And I've heard a couple people say, if you like this game, you will like these other games that I'll definitely have to check out. Some of you might argue with me and say, no, this is way similar to these other games. But the major difference is capturing the stones, the different realms that open up, and there's a couple of other things that make this game very different. Not just the gameplay, but the game itself has a lot of things that make people nervous because it's different. The AI art, whether you agree with that or don't agree with that, people are nervous about that. I don't know if I can support that. That's different. I don't know how I feel about that. I will say, and people have commented on some of my YouTube videos, that I can't believe that the Wonders of the First people are charging this much for this game when they took 30 seconds to type a command in a computer and got all this artwork. If you think that that's how AI artwork is created, I challenge you to go attempt that and see what you come up with. Go attempt to come up with 5,000 images that are this cool, okay, and this cohesive in 30 seconds with a command in a computer, because I promise you it will not work. It will not happen. So that's one thing, and I've addressed that in other videos. Something else that people keep saying is that the reprint is not going to work. You can't do that. And again, no one's ever tried that before. And so a lot of people are saying that, hey, nobody's ever done that, and so it can't work. It's never been proven. That's another reason why people, I think, are nervous to jump in, is because of the fact that it hasn't been done. Now, let me talk about that for a second. This is, again, totally my opinion about this game. But in playing the game, in reading about the game and watching other people's videos, and for good and for bad about the game, the conclusion I've come to is that the collectibility of Wonders of the First is going to be in the characters and not in the mechanics. And again, I just showed you Skrull here, which is super awesome, kind of a last round guy because he costs 10 energy to put out. And in the last few rounds, you won't have that much energy the last few rounds, but this guy is amazing, okay? When Skrull comes onto the board, choose an on-the-arrival ability of another Wonder you control and trigger it 3 times. Okay, so an on-arrival ability triggers 3 times. Now, to say that there's not going to be reprints doesn't mean that there's never going to be another card that doesn't trigger an on-arrival ability 3 times. There might be another card with that exact same ability. Well, wait, how can that be if there's not going to be reprints? It won't be Skrull. It will be somebody else. It will be a different name, and you can see here these have a lineage and a class, okay? It's going to be a different name and a different lineage and class, but maybe a similar ability, or maybe an ability that has flying as well, or a slight different twist. But what I'm saying is these cards that have this mechanic on it, here we have Nexus Phasebringer, which is another cool card. She has the Ascend 4 ability, so she gets +4 in round 7. Also, when she comes into play, she can banish an item and get a copy of it onto herself, which is really cool. If someone's got an awesome item out there, you take their item and you put it on you, and their item is gone. Pretty cool. It doesn't mean, with no reprints, that there's never going to be another card that won't allow you to copy an item and banish it. That may still happen. Again, totally my opinion. But that may still happen. But the collectability of this game is going to be, I really like Emma Shockbite. She is awesome. I love this character. And so if I get a one of this, or a serialized, or even a foil, or one of these, it's going to be cool, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to collect it because this is what I want. If I were to open up a pack and pull out Drogothor, a serialized or a one of one, I would never sell it. I would keep it forever because I love this guy, okay? because he's super cool looking and he's won me a lot of games. What I'm saying is, it doesn't mean there's never going to be another card that on attack you can destroy an item or a land. There could be another card that does that in a future set, but maybe it doesn't have flying, or maybe it doesn't quite have the same power or the same energy cost. The mechanics, I think, moving forward, totally my opinion, and maybe Wonders will jump on here and say, oh, you're totally wrong, the mechanics going to be totally different. Maybe, but I give it as my opinion that I think what's going to change are the characters. And so if you find a character in this first set that you really like, hang on to that, collect it, or if somebody else has it, buy it from them so you can have that character. But the mechanics, I think you're going to keep seeing those with a little bit of a twist on them, a little bit of a difference, something added, something taken away. I don't think the mechanics are going to be drastically different, because people talk about the fact that the cards are going to be so expensive, they're not going to be able to get them for their games. You will, because in future sets, there will be a similar card, maybe with a different twist, that you'll be able to put into your deck and still use. But if you really like a character from a previous set, then by all means, trade, buy, sell, whatever it's going to take you to get that character. Now, the reason why I like this game is because of the innovation. That was the thing that initially caught my eye. Facebook really knows how to advertise to me. When I do my Facebook feed, despite all of my Facebook friends, it's just game, and then someone having a vacation. Game. It's so many games on there, and I just happened to stumble upon this game a couple of days before it went live on Kickstarter. And as I was scrolling through there, what's this? And I clicked on it, and I watched a couple of the videos describing what the gameplay is, what the philosophy behind the game and the collectability is, and it really piqued my interest because of the innovation, because of the no reprints and the serialized cards and all these opportunities to play an awesome game and to collect an awesome game. That's what really interested me in the game, was the innovation. And that's the reason why I felt like it was worth taking a risk on. Now, this game is only going to be successful because of people. If people like the game and they enjoy the game and it becomes mainstream, it will become collectible. But if it doesn't become mainstream, it's just going to be like all the other games that have fizzled out along the way. But the reason why I love this game is because of the innovation. I feel like it has a lot of new stuff and risky things that other games have not tried. So, does that mean it's going to be instantly successful? Absolutely not. There's a chance that it might not. But I believe that because of the innovation, because of the differences that this game has that other games don't have, I think if enough people become interested in it, it's going to be poised to be awesome and be a contender with Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all the other big ones. I really think it will be if people are willing to take a risk and give it a try. Now, this doesn't mean that you got to back the Kickstarter at the $4,000 level or $8,000 level. Those are just the people taking the big risk, hoping that this game's going to become big and they'll have a substantial amount of first edition cards. But by take a risk, I mean print the decks out and give it a try and see if you like the game. And if you enjoy the game, buy the 2 starter decks on the Kickstarter just to try it out. And once the game is released, you'll still have an opportunity to buy the booster packs. It's not as if the booster packs will only be available on the Kickstarter. You'll still have an opportunity to buy those. But I believe this game is worth taking a risk over. And I didn't mention this in some of my other videos because I wanted them to be unbiased and I wanted people to make their own decisions on whether they wanted to support the game or not. But after watching the videos on the game when I first saw it, I was a day one backer of the original game. And when the Kickstarter came back live again, I backed at the same level within the first 30 seconds of the Kickstarter being live. And that's just because of the innovation in the game, because it's different than a lot of other games, and I think it's gonna be big. You don't have to take my opinion for that. I could be wrong, and the game could have no interest and could fizzle out. I could be totally wrong. I hope I'm not. And if you don't want to take a risk on this game, if you print the decks out and you play it and you don't like it, then go try something else. Don't back the game. Go try something else. But remember that you're not going to be rewarded unless you're willing to take a risk. It doesn't have to be in this game. You don't have to take a risk in this game. I'm just saying, in your life, don't be so concerned about your safety and well-being that you're not willing to put yourself out there and take a risk. And it might be talking to someone that you're nervous to talk to. It might be asking for a promotion at work. It might be applying for a new job that you're nervous about and you don't think it's going to pay off. You might get the job. You might not get it. But you're never going to get rewarded unless you're willing to take a risk. And I feel like Wonders of the First is taking a tremendous risk and financial investment to produce a game that they think is going to be different and innovative for the gaming community. And then it's up to you to decide, do you want to take the risk to give it a shot? Give it a shot and try it out. Whether you do or whether you don't, I hope you guys are heroes in your games. I hope you remember the things we talk about here and how you can be a hero in your real lives. And thank you so much for watching. You guys take care.